Welcome to our beer o'clock sessions for Barrels, Business and Beers, usually done on a Friday, currently done on a Thursday because of long weekend. And Kyle and I were chatting last week, we're like, what are we going to chat about? Usually we talk about the leadership and managing and hiring and culture and running a business and all of those things. And Kyle said, no.
Let's talk about downtime.
Let's talk about downtime. And we went, downtime. Well, actually, it really is super, super important for leaders to fill their own cup.
And not just leaders. Isn't that interesting? So we just got off an interview for our awesomeness coordinator, and this same topic came up about the downtime, and we actually mentioned the third space as we were talking about that.
Yeah. So
it's rather interesting how, like half an hour ago, we're talking, with a really awesome person about this role and talking about downtime, even as a team player, as, just being able to switch off, not, and I think we talked about having the crayons in the shower so you could make a list, didn't we?
Yeah, shower thoughts.
And we all know that we think best.
What was your number one tip for not having, for the crayons in the shower?
Yes, the most important thing is don't draw on the white grout with them. Yeah, it doesn't work.
Doesn't come off.
The kids just make a big mess.
Trying to clean the grout, it's just not okay. But that's really important, right? So we were interviewing for your awesomeness coordinator, and she was talking. I asked her what one of her main weaknesses were, or what would her brother say was a weakness. She thought it might sound terrible saying in an interview, but taking work home with her was something that played on her, because family time is such a huge part of her and her partners and her young family's lives. And the fact that she'll often be having a shower and the thoughts come up, or wake up in the middle of the night and be writing notes. And although that's all awesome, and when you're really passionate about your job, we do want to be able to help our team to be able to disconnect and most importantly, sleep, not be writing notes every night. And we talked about that concept of the third space. Now, we've touched on this before, Kyle, but what, in the context of self-care, in the context of downtime, why do you think the third space is really important for a business to help employees implement?
So it's about not taking everything home with you and having that extra space to unwind. And I guess I probably notice it a fair bit where I'm only 5 minutes away from home, not even 5 minutes away from home. And, if you're not conscious about switching modes when you're going home, then you're trying to go from, let's say last week where we've got 3 customers that are upset and needing things fixed. And, even though it's not our fault, we're the ones fixing the problem. It's high pressure. It's, everything going on. And then to be able to walk in the door at home and switch and go from, almost a defensive mode where you're trying to fend off all these problems to being able to communicate clearly with the kids and everyone else around us and be compassionate with them, where, we just haven't had that space to be able to settle for it. So the third space is that time that we allow, I guess, or we give ourselves between leaving work and going home, or leaving home and coming to work, and wherever else we might need to shift modes.
Yeah. And I think it's about how you define the third space. So your third space, you may not be able to go physically somewhere, but your third space could be meditation. It could be literally sitting in the car and doing a 5 to 10 minute meditation before you roll into the next role of you, whether you're stepping back into the household as a partner, as a parent, as a sibling, whatever it is, and being able to get yourself grounded, centered, take a minute for yourself, park all of the noise and say, it's all right, we'll be back to you. or even like just getting it all out, like journaling it out, blaring it out, voice recording it, something, so then you can get into your own zone and set your intention of how you're going to show up into the next space.
Yeah.
I think this is something that is very rarely taught. It's very rarely talked about. But if we think about it, it seems kind of logical, right? Wouldn't it be great not to rush from one thing to the other, dragging that whatever that energy was with you and all of those thoughts and the noise, and be able to go, okay, and act with intent before you go into anything. Like, okay, what is the intention? How do I want to show up? What's the energy? What's serving me right now to take with me? What's not serving me right now to take?
That's a really good word to use there, and I think it's something that we need to think about ourselves a lot more often. Is what's the intent of my next interaction? What do I actually want to give all of my friends and my family, or what do I want to give my work colleagues and the people around me at work, or my students, or my customers, or wherever that change is actually happening? And I think that's actually a really good word to use, is intent. And we're talking about this third space, and it's a magical creature, so to speak. But really, what we need to do is just set the intent. What do I want to do next? How would I like my kids to see me when I walk in the door? And do I want to have a big smile, and do I want to feel that energy that they've got to show me because they're excited to see me? Or, am I going to be grumpy like I was yesterday because, something didn't go right, or, I'm tired because I've had a huge day, or, I'm hungry because I didn't eat lunch because I had a big day and I didn't plan my lunch and
might have forgot that one again today.
I did eat lunch today, so I'm feeling all right about that. I'm not going to be hangry today. No, I guess with people that commute, it's quite easy to set up an intentional third space, so long as we're separating away from, not just continuing to make phone calls, or even if we just change the style of music that we listen to, or if we change the podcast that we're listening to, change the focus away from a work-centered something into something that's more of an interest. So for me, I very intentionally, when I'm at home, try not to focus on work, business, culture, leadership kind of podcasts. I try and focus more on the surfing and the learning to surf, or strength or fitness and that sort of stuff, so that I have a very clear distinction between the mindset.
I'm typing to our backstage, just letting know it's a notification that one of the streams went down. So backstage, if you're listening, we just got a notification that one stream just died.
Damn.
This is the problem with me trying to control everything at the same time. What I love, though, what you were saying then, is I've got so many podcasts, so many books I want to listen to, and so many of them are related to work. And if I'm constantly feeding my brain work ideas, it's really hard to disconnect.
Yeah.
And the brain keeps going. And one of the things that I did start implementing kind of at the beginning of COVID was in the mornings not consuming anything that was learning for work or inspiration for work that was more nourishing to the soul, or to how I wanted to show up in other areas of my life. And so being more conscious about that and going, oh, okay, cool. So one of the things that I'm implementing for myself and Steve at the moment is listening to the conscious parenting
That's
quest
awesome.
on Mind Valley, between driving from here to there or whatever, because otherwise I still roll in work mode. And even if I think I've disconnected, they feel the energy. Especially my sister Ellie, when I arrive at her place, she can really feel the energy that I'm not there. Or Steve's like, your brain's still somewhere else. Like,
Absolutely.
And so, like, even something like that, if you go, okay, my intent is I'm going to be present with my kids, what could I listen to that's going to put me into that vibration? Could I listen to a podcast around it? Like, I think what's the one you listen to? The Wildlings.
Wildlings. That's a very interesting one.
Wow. Yeah. So picking a podcast, something like that, which gets you into that zone.
Yeah.
And sets you.
And it gives opportunity to bring new conversation into that personal world. And rather than rolling home and talking work, you can roll home and talk, parenting or something else. And I guess I'm really conscious that I don't consume the news, like the bad news of the world. Look, we've all heard it for the last 12 months and longer that, it's all doom and gloom and we're lockdowns again, or something else is going wrong, or someone else is partying at Byron Bay, or whatever whatever it is.
Direct our weekend. Leah just arrived from Sydney and really wanted to go to Tash Sultana. She knows I've been dying to go. Tickets were available. Then she's got a friend that said they were actually working there and we could get free tickets, free entry.
Wow.
Yeah, no.
See, what they should do is they should live stream that event to everyone that had tickets. How awesome would that be?
Yeah, and only those that had tickets.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, I guess this sort of leads into the focus of what we wanted to talk about today, about filling the cup, about having the downtime, having that self-care kind of thing. And, even if it's just listening to some music with some friends, having a couple of beers on a Friday.
That time?
Cheers. Whatever that is actually taking the focus away, refilling the cup so that we've got heaps to offer everyone else.
I find a lot of people, when you get busy and you've got a lot on your plate and the shit storm's happening, we forget what it is that helps us fill our own cup.
Absolutely.
And I've referred a few times What I Know for Sure by Oprah, and that's what got me back into my surfing, because I realized board's on this side. Board's over here normally. I'm watching myself in reverse. But that's what reminded me of what made me most me. So I think a really awesome exercise for people to do rolling into this weekend, like ideally this afternoon, like we're not encouraging all beverages, but if you want to have a beverage or a cup of tea.
Absolutely. Have a think about what makes me me.
Yeah, like think about before you got busy, what was it that you absolutely loved doing? Like, and you find this a lot with parents too, right? They feel like they've lost a bit of themselves and they don't get to do the stuff that they used to do. Or sometimes you just actually forget what you love doing because you're just so caught up in stuff. And I think if everyone could sit down and journal, like, what did I actually love doing before? What were some things that I would love to do that I haven't tried? Like and making a list of things that are resources. So I find, like Steve and I talk about making a weekend bucket list to go, right, well, we said we really want to go waterfall chasing, or we really want to do this, but if you wake up on a Saturday and then you start doing housework and it's like, oh, we really should, and then it's like, oh, check the surf, I've been for a surf, and then next minute it's 1:00 and you're like, oh, we should go for a drive. It's like, oh, where should we go? And then you spend 2 hours trying to figure out where to go. Does that happen to anyone else?
No, never.
No? I really want to go to the markets. What markets are on? Oh, let me Google it. And then next minute you're lost in like La La Land again. But just creating a resource for yourself that you can go, oh, I want to go to the markets, right? These markets are on. Or we want to go waterfall chasing. What's the list of waterfalls that we've got down that are nearby? Let's just go there. And making it easy for yourself, because otherwise it's so easy just to get, I think, sucked back into everyday life, or you just do something for the sake of doing it and it doesn't actually nourish you.
Yeah. So I think you skirted around this, but I think we're quite good maybe at planning, our workday and, how to build a house or how to do the renovation or the shopping list or anything else. But we kind of forget to plan the downtime, the self-care stuff, the even if it's just getting a haircut. Like how often do we go, Christ, I need a haircut? Damn it, I'm not going to sit for an hour and wait to get in for a haircut or, but, and look, for me, a haircut's only a 5-minute affair that I do in the shower. So it's not a big deal. But, for some people, that's the downtime. That's the space.
My toes, Leah arrived, she's like, oh, I really would love to try and get my nails done while I'm here before I go back to work. And I'm like, yeah, I've been talking about getting a pedicure for a few months now. And the painted over the paint over the paint. It's looking a bit sketchy. And I used to try and plan it that Thursday nights I would, because Thursday night late night shopping, like every 6 weeks I go and get a pedicure, get my eyebrows tinted so I look like I've got some, and ideally get a massage. But when I don't have it planned, it doesn't happen all the time. Like last time it was like, oh, well, I have time to go and do one thing. I don't actually have time because I didn't book, and then they're full, and then there's restrictions because of COVID. And it's like taking the time to have the plan, I think is a really big thing. And for me specifically in the mornings with my exercise and that, if I wake up and I don't have the plan already, the procrastination kicks in, and then the excuses, or more rather than the excuses, the permissions. So I know we talked about this on our coaching call last night, Kyle, about where do we give ourselves permission to procrastinate. But it's like, oh, well, I had it in my head I was going to go surfing, but there's no surf. So, I better send that message. I didn't get back to that person. And then an hour's gone by and like, oh, shit, I really should have just gone to the gym.
Yep. And now I'm missing it. And now I feel frustrated with myself. As I start the day, I'm feeling frustrated. So not only did I not get the endorphins and the dopamine and everything else that I got from the exercise, but now I'm feeling down because I didn't exercise and crash.
Yep.
All of a sudden the day shit.
It's just it's a shitstorm spiral.
Absolutely.
So I find that like often long weekends people, especially if you do have family you're trying to catch up with, are a little more planned. But just your average weekend often isn't. And I think it can get into being a chore.
Yeah.
Something you have to do. So I think it's really important that, like, a lot of people say, like, I need a holiday from my holiday, or I need to go back to work because the weekend was so much. It's like, okay, how can we be a bit more conscious about this? And before I go into that, though, let's go a bit deeper though on why it's important. Why do you really think it's important? Because this was a trigger for you. Like, this is what we need to do rolling into the long weekend. Why is it important for people to do this? Whether you're the business leader or just anybody.
I think it doesn't matter who you are. You still need to find that downtime away from whatever is the energy drain. We've got energy, and whether it's a positive or a negative energy drain, we're still offering our energy out. We're caring for our friends, we're creating great things, we're doing awesome stuff. But if we don't take the time to refill all of that, then eventually we're going to run out. Eventually we're going to snap. Eventually someone's going to have their head ripped off because they didn't turn up with the right coffee, or, and it's stupid. It's the stupidest thing that's that final thing. So,
the straw.
It's the straw. So I guess for me, I missed the week off that I was going to have a couple of weeks ago. So, we've just come out of a 6-week sprint. We've rolled into the next one. I'm probably 4 weeks overdue for a decent break. And now I'm sort of going, it's the long weekend, and I haven't surfed in 2 weeks. I'm feeling like I haven't surfed in 2 weeks. And
well, during the last interview, you told me how to put my blinds down because there was surf behind me.
I was upset that there was someone out there enjoying the surf. See, the water looks terrible here at the moment too. It's so the Newcastle Pro's on at Merriweather, and it looks like they're surfing in a sewage treatment facility.
Ew.
It looks yuck, and it's not as bad as it looks, but it's so demotivating.
It's a little scary.
It is. on the plus side, like Newcastle Pro this weekend, there's forecasts for 2 to 4 metre swells by the end of the weekend.
Oh,
Giddy
wow.
up. John Florence is in
Giddy
town
up.
and he's going to be ripping up Merriweather Beach.
Stop it. Why didn't I come to your place this
So you should have been here this weekend. We could have been out surfing with him. Yeah. Emma put up a photo of him and Cassie and a couple of other surfers, him sitting in the lineup out there at Merriweather, just chewing the fat. How cool.
Oh, the other afternoon I came out and like my neighbors were like staring back at the water. I'm like, they just got out and it was getting really dark. I said, is there a shark out there or something? And they're like, oh no, we're just watching Steph. Steph Gilmore, I think Cassie Moore. There was a couple of others just out there. It was just after the rain stopped and it was like COVID had ended. Yeah. So you remember when COVID first happened and there was nobody around, and then literally the day that it was lifted, it was like packed. Yep. So it rained here for 10 days solid. It was, I think, a Wednesday or a Thursday, and it was like, where did it, like the whole beach, and the surf wasn't good. Like it was, okay, not that much more than this. And it was like people everywhere.
And everyone filling their cup, taking that time for themselves. You know, no one got tiling done that day. No one got a roof fixed. And maybe that's something that, we as surfers, we just understand that when the surf's on, you've just got to have that time to yourself.
Yeah, funny enough, we drove past Lennox Point when the swell was up just after the rain, and the car park, it was a Monday, the car park was just packed. And then we literally said that, it's like, no one's getting their roof fixed, plumbing fixed, anything done today. No. It's just literally trading dudes out on the street, up the highway, everywhere.
It's fair though, isn't it? Yeah, I think we're making a joke of it, and what do those tradies need? Like as if they need the time off, as if they need to come down from anything. But if it's been raining for 2 weeks, chances are every one of those poor buggers has been flogging his backside out trying to either A, keep enough money coming in the door, or he's been that busy fixing stuff that, holy crap, I need a day off. And so, really, they're doing what we're talking about now is refilling the cup and having some time to themselves. Yeah.
So the thing I want to touch in again on the refilling of the cup and why we need to encourage our teams to do it as well, and maybe enable them with the tools, because like I said, this stuff doesn't really get taught. And there is a lot around the mental health side of things, and that's sort of the outcome. But even if we look at the productivity of our team, if someone comes back feeling refreshed and creative, we're going to get the best out of them. So it's about what can you do, what tools can you give them, what encouragement can you give, and how can you create that culture that's what you want them to be able to go and do. Like rather than going, oh, can you do that on the weekend, or this, we still need this by Tuesday, like really asking yourself, do you really?
Doesn't matter.
Are the lights still going to turn on Tuesday? But helping them to find things, giving them ideas, asking them, like, what are you doing rather than what are you doing on the weekend, what are you doing to refill your cup? Because a lot of times, trigger. So I got asked this by a coach the other day. They're like, why didn't you surf this week? Why didn't you do this? And I was like, when it came down to it, I felt selfish. I felt guilty that I wanted to spend some time with a sister that I hadn't seen. I had a whole bunch of stuff I needed to give to my team so they could move forward. That required my creative brain space. I wanted to do some stuff to help Steve with the kids. There was things around the house that needed to be done. So I felt guilty taking that time to do that, because it felt like, oh, well, that's for me.
I've got too many fucking things I've got to do.
And have I earned it? There's so many other things. And I have a friend that's going through kind of a breakup, and I was supposed to call them back, but then I was also supposed to call the boyfriend, and like all these people need a piece of me. I felt guilty if I shirked that responsibility. But then I was reminded, because she's like, don't you coach people on this? Like, shut up. The mechanic's car blowing
That's right.
smoke.
That's right. But it's very true, isn't it? We get really busy, and like you say, it only takes a little bit of extra stuff to come on board. Like, someone needs your help, something has to happen so the rest of the team can get going, and then all of a sudden it's like, I can't possibly take some time off. But really, if I go and take an hour or 2 hours to go and have a serve, is 2 hours actually going to make a difference?
Yeah. How much difference is it going to make? Yeah.
Yeah, like if I push my whole day back by 2 hours, what's going to happen?
And where can you get that? Like, where can you collect that 2 hours elsewhere? Where could you be more productive? Where could you stop scrolling on socials? Where could you not watch that TV show? Like, what could you do to gain that 2 hours back? But for me, it's when I try to force creativity or like force myself to sit and either review something or create something when I'm not in that space. And it just laugh at me.
Oh, I'm laughing at myself at the moment. My goodness.
But it's the allowing of that space to allow the creativity means the work's so much better and actually saves you time.
Yeah. It happens so much quicker. So I said to you, I was talking to Elle Marie, and Elle Marie said the same thing, that she was forcing to get these videos done and the content written, and she found that if she set herself up for it and gave herself the space for it to happens like that, quarter of the time.
Yeah.
I think we forget that sometimes we have to slow down to go faster.
Yes.
I really liked what you said though about some of those things that you can do and empower your team to do. And one of those really good things is just to encourage them to do a download at the end of the day, and not make it a micromanaging thing about what did you get done and what's left out and what are you doing tomorrow, but empty your brain. Just take the time to download everything out, give yourself that window to do it, and you'll train yourself to do it so that at 3:45 every day you just do your download, get yourself organized for tomorrow, and then hopefully that means that you don't go home carrying all that workload and the damn, I forgot. Oh no, not again.
Yeah, I should have said that. Oh crap. Oh, now I have to do it right now because I promised it was going to get done. How did I forget this? I'm an idiot.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I come in cranky tomorrow.
Yeah, because then you didn't sleep and you didn't get to do your stuff that you wanted to do. Bloody perpetuating cycle, isn't it? But this is why we talk about that workday wind down routine and what can you do to craft that habit. And we've been teaching it a lot with the business owners, but I think if we could help embed that into our team culture. Okay, what's your workday wind down? How can we respect what you need to do? But because often when you feel like you've forgotten something but you don't know what it is, that is such an energy drain on your brain that if you can take that minute and say, okay, my like for the new awesomeness coordinator, her workday wind down might be at 3:00, she gets a cup of tea and she sits down and she just goes, right, what shit did I need to get to do today? What didn't get done? What do I got to do tomorrow? What's Kyle got to do? Right. Got all that.
Yep.
And then that just allows her to roll into the third space without that energy hangover.
Absolutely.
Because it is really that drain. Like if you think about your computer, if it's got a full trash can just sitting there, or you've got the spinning wheel of death trying to find something because it can't remember where to find it.
Spinning wheel of death. That's the one.
Yeah.
And we all do it. We all notice it, and it flows on to the next space, to where we're going next. Yeah. So I guess maybe everyone that's listening is sort of going, so does it have to be surfing? What can be my wind down?
Yeah.
It's anything that you actually get pleasure from. I know. It was really, really cool. So we've got this group of students that we're working on out in Western New South Wales, and they're all in engineering, and let's say they're for the better part burly tradies, and we taught them how to meditate and how to take some mindfulness practices and all this sort of stuff. But we also taught them about taking the time for themselves and filling their cup. And it was really, really cool that 2 weeks later we've been talking about this, and one of the guys comes back, and he says, "You know what I really enjoy doing, and I do it every day now, no matter what." Oh yeah, cool. What? I go for a walk with my wife down the back of the property that we're on. We walk through the vineyard. It's like, that's fucking amazing. Wow. You found it, you implemented it, and it's just become, not only really, really important to you on your own, but it's just created this huge connection that you've got with your partner, where you can now go and enjoy the sunset. It's only 10 minutes, but wow, absolute wind down, relax, chill. And he was taking stuff. He was working like 16, 18 hours a day. He was working in the middle of the night. He was carrying this huge load. And so just switch it off, get some connection. And he really is a new guy for it. Absolutely new guy.
That's amazing.
Resilience is through the roof. Productivity is through the roof. Just cognitive ability is through the roof, just by taking the time to have that wind down. So it can be something as simple as going for a walk in the backyard.
Well, you talked about meditation as well, and a lot of people think of like meditation and like not thinking and sitting still, not my jam. So no, I teach meditation. That's not what I teach. But your meditation, for me, surfing is my meditation. Skateboarding, my little sister, I'm so proud. My baby sister bought a skateboard. She sent me a message going, I want to buy a skateboard. And she sent me a message after work the other day. She goes, I've just been for a 2-hour skate around the suburbs. She's like, it's like meditation. I was just making sure I wasn't hitting anything. I wasn't thinking about anything else. I'm just cruising along. Like, she's a nurse studying to be a vet, and she's in the biggest animal hospital in Sydney. So the emergency section, it's pretty full on.
Yeah.
And so she's found that's her new meditation, is just go for a skate. And I'm like, I'm so proud of you, sis. So your meditation, like the walking meditation. So Andrew, our friend Andrew, for him, the coastal walk is his meditation. Just going for the walk. Walking the Camino like he did for 7 weeks. That's crazy. For Steve, like he was your typical tradie, single dadding, and like just all the stuff, all the noise, not being taught any techniques, hadn't thought about, like, heard meditation be like, that's for hippies because I live in Byron and all the weirdos do that shit. And like not understanding the concept because it was like this perception. And for some reason he started swimming across Lake Ainsworth. And why he does it, I know why, because I wouldn't let him swim in the ocean, because he was swimming around Burleigh Headland or swimming across Lennox Point in dawn, like shark food. And I'm like, no. So he started swimming again across Lake Ainsworth. But he found that he specifically likes it when it's dark. I'm like, okay, you're a weirdo, but sure. This is weird to me. He's like, I just swim to the lights and back. And I'm like, oh, creepy. But he said it is literally his meditation. And the other day, like, the kids were pushing the boundaries to the limits. And then I'm running around like a crazy person. We've got a million things going on. We're trying to figure out the build. And he's like, I just have to go and get in the lake. And I'm like, yes, you do.
Hurry up.
But the difference is like 20 minutes and it's done. And he can literally see the difference now if he doesn't do it in the mornings. Like, he got up this morning, sent me a message, I'm about to go. And then he filmed outside and was like, you won't want me swimming in the morning. It's horrific. But just like for him, that's probably 30 minutes. He can probably do 30 minutes door to door, done.
Yep.
And it means getting up half an hour earlier. But the difference is massive.
Absolutely. And It's probably a good thing to touch on here is that the meditation, the crazy things that hippies do, or the mindfulness practice, or whatever, maybe it's called stillness or whatever you want to, however it's described. I guess the really important thing that maybe isn't well publicized is that it's not about silence, and it's not about silencing thoughts, and it's not about silencing the world around you. It's actually just about noticing all that. Taking the time to just notice, just to, it was awareness. It was really, really cool. I did that breath work exercise with Nam, 2 weeks ago. And, it's like the world record for holding your breath is something like 11 and a half minutes. And, we get held down in the surf for 10 seconds and we're freaking out. He was telling us, an 8 to 10 foot day at sunset is like 15 seconds. And, some freak can hold his breath for 11 and a half minutes. And we're freaking out at 15 seconds. And it's all just in here. So, for me, one of the things that I noticed was just feel the finger. What's the ridges of the finger feel like? And all of a sudden, everything goes quiet. Everything calms down. I'm not focused on holding my breath. I can do that easily now. And everything seems so much easier.
Wow.
And just that one, even if you're just sitting in the car at the traffic and it's driving you bonkers, if you just take the time to do something simple like that, like what does my finger actually feel like? What does my fingernail actually feel like?
What does it feel like to have the air come in and out of your nose or out of your mouth? Like, what's that actual feeling and sensation?
What's that one sound that I notice that I've never heard before? I remember Gemma Simon. So Gemma Simon is really important in my world because she was playing soccer for the Matildas. And she taught Kiani, my daughter, at school. She was one of the learning support officers in the school. So Kiani got to know her and he's feeling really, really inspired by Gemma Simon. And we went and listened to a talk at just about what it's like to be at the World Cup a few years ago. And, she was talking about, the anxiety of walking into a stadium and, the crowds going wild and, and even though you've been there 100 times before, it's this wow. And all you've got to do is kick the ball through those things. It's only this big and you're kicking it in a goal this big. Like, that's all you've got to do. It should be easy. And, the mind's going crazy and everything else. And one of the things that she was taught to do was find something you've never seen before. Just find that one thing in this massive stadium that you've never, ever noticed before. And all of a sudden, the world just calms down.
Wow.
Just that notice. So I guess what I was trying to get to in all of that was, meditation isn't for hippies and weirdos, and meditation isn't about silence. It's just about taking your focus away from what's doing this and creating the noise and just taking the time to notice. Just pause.
Yeah. At that present moment awareness, and that's what they say, mindfulness, right? A lot of people go, mindful means like you're being careful.
Yeah.
Because I'll be mindful of that. No. Like, it's just being mindful is being able to recognize, like sitting here and just watching the leaves on the tree move. For me, in the mornings, I like to just sit and watch the beach and watch the sunrise and watch the clouds move. And when it's raining, there's the rock out the front there, the rain drips into the puddle, and seeing how far it splashes, and you just get lost in that shit.
Yeah. And it's just that downtime. Now the brain's still going. And you might actually notice some of the, it might actually become a bit clearer about what some of those thoughts need to be. And maybe some of the other stuff might just dissipate because it doesn't need to be right now. And that's probably the key point, is that It's not about actually silencing anything. It's not about making the world silent. It's not about making the mind silent. It's just about noticing.
Yeah, just recognizing. Okay, so what would you suggest then for people rolling into the weekend, people watching, like they might be watching this one now live, or we might replay it just for a normal weekend. What's some of the things that you'd recommend people going into a weekend should do to help refill their cup, reset the brain, recharge the battery, and let go of maybe the negative self-talk, guilt programming that might hold them back from being able to really sink into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the first thing is give yourself permission, isn't it? Yeah, we talked about permission to be distracted. Give yourself permission to have the time off, and actually say it to yourself. I give you permission to have this weekend off. It is okay to have this weekend off. But then, I think, like we said before, so, firstly, just go, yep, I'm having some time off. This is all good. This is actually important, and I'm going to do it. And then what is all the stuff that has to come out of my mind? Do a brain dump. Spend the time, do a brain dump. Get rid of it all, park it. Write it all down, park it. Not write it down and try and do it. Just write it all down.
Yeah.
So that when you come back on, for this weekend.
Don't try and find the solutions to the problem right there. Because this is one thing, so scrolling, but one thing I've really found that, if you try and force a solution, you often end up sending the team off in the wrong direction, creating something that you really weren't attached to because you just needed to get something done. Whereas if you can give it the space, the shower thought comes and you're like, oh, I never would have got that otherwise. Or the surfing thought, like when you're sitting there, you're like, fuck, I wish I had a pen. Like, or because you've opened up the reticular activated memory also to be looking for other solutions. So one of the most powerful things is be writing that down and saying to your brain, okay, cool, we're not going to try it now, but let's be open to this, and then just letting it go, because then you just hear different things, you find different things, and a much better solution can come out of it.
Yeah. So that'd be the second step, is just get it all out of the head. Sit down, write it out. It might take a bit, but just write it all down. But then
just grab a beer.
Yeah, just grab a beer and do it. And then I reckon that the next thing to do is to go, okay, what is something that is going to make me feel or help me feel relaxed? And whatever that is, actually book it. So I've just finished writing down. I've just finished writing, and I've got all the stuff out of my brain. And the one thing that I go, actually, I'd actually feel a bit relaxed after doing that. Just book it then and there. Just book it. Yeah. Even if that's, book a ticket at the pub so you can go and sit and watch footy with your mates, or, book the time slot to go to the beach and have a surf, or go for a walk on the beach. Just commit to going to the beach.
Phone a friend to say, can we do this together? So you've got an accountability.
Yeah.
One thing to be mindful of, this is me, Mira. I go, oh yeah, it'd be really nice to get a pedicure. You know what I could do? I could take my other laptop, which has the stylus, and then I could write things, and I could actually get that thing done while I'm there. and then I didn't even realize I got my toes did.
So.
And the lady's like, do you like them? I'm like, I walk out of the hairdresser, and my sister's like, do you like your hair? I'm like, oh fuck, I forgot to look at it. She's like, you didn't check your hair before you left. I was like, no, well, I was on the phone to Kyle, and I forgot to see if I liked it.
So if you're going to get a pedicure then, or a manicure, then what you need to come out of your objective should be, what does it feel like as the file goes across my nails?
Oh, no. Do you know the sound of a nail file is the thing that it's like nails on a chalkboard to me? Like, no, but for me, the thing would be, could I read a novel, or like a non-business book, or listen to something, or draw, on my iPad I have the mandalas that I could color in. Like, Yeah.
Yep.
And what music I could listen to. I like when I get a massage now, I specifically listen to meditation music or like a Gabby Bernstein, or actually my favorite thing to listen to while I get a massage is Conversations with God, books 1 to 4. I have listened to book 1, I reckon, about 4 times because of massage.
But how much of it have you actually heard though, and how much of it have you slept through?
No, I'm pretty good with that. Well, I've probably listened to Conversations with God book 1 maybe 5 times in total.
Neil Donald Santa Claus, as he's speaking, he sounds he's just Santa Claus, and it is a very peaceful voice.
Yeah, it is very soothing. But otherwise, if I lay there and just listen to their background music and I can still hear other people, the brain is still going.
Yep.
But actually, that's probably why I listen to it now, is because I know it. I'm not thinking about the implementation of it while I'm listening. Does that make sense? Because when I listen to a book for the first time, I'm still thinking about the implementation.
Yep.
Like, how can I apply this? What should I do with it? Who do I tell? Oh my God, I can't wait to tell such and such.
Where's my pen? I need to write this down.
I'm grabbing the phone and trying to put notes in it. But when it's something that you're almost used to, yes, I'm finding new things, or it's a reminder, but I don't feel like I need to take action.
Yep, that's fair enough. So I think, that's final step, actually do the thing.
2 seconds. You keep talking.
I'll keep talking. So the final step is actually do the thing. So, actually give yourself permission, do a brain dump, get your brain clear, plan your weekend, plan what you're going to do, schedule it in, and then do the thing. Actually do it and take the time to be present while you're doing it. And I think actually this was something that Clayton told you, wasn't it, in your surfing, was don't just go surfing and go, I'm going to go catch waves and I've got to catch waves and I'm not catching waves, but I'm not, and I heard it and I fell off.
I'm sucking.
Just fucking surf.
Yeah.
So
have fun. And that was the big thing about the intention, right? He told me to go to the water, to stop and set the intention. And this goes right back to what we talked about at the very beginning. Like, I'd often run out there because they work on Queensland time. I was on New South Wales time. So I'd done an hour or 2 of work before I was going because I was going to miss an hour or 2. So I was like, I get down. And I'd run down there and I'd be like in a panic and I'd be like, just like, I've got to not suck.
Coach is watching, I can't suck.
I can see your brain thinking it's painful.
And I think Clayton actually got frustrated as well, didn't he?
Oh, just a
little. I think Clayton even walked off the beach, didn't he? Because it was everything going on. It was everything.
I just want to clarify that wasn't me, because I did message him and go, I told you I was pissing you off. He goes, it wasn't you.
No.
I was like, are you lying to me? He goes, you know me. Like, he's like, no, you tell me. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's that combination of everything, and like Clayton says, just go and have fun.
Yeah, and it honestly makes the biggest difference to my surfing when I am not focused on the getting better, because I was like, I have this thing, I just want to get better. When I'm focused on getting better, then I'm too much in the thinking, not in the being, and no flow, and I can't connect. But when I literally go down, do you know what? I ain't fuck who can see me. I don't care how good I am. I'm just going to have fun. And and that allows me to be creative, because I'll try and do something. Like, I'll see a lip and like try to hit it where I wouldn't do it before, because I'd be like, I won't land that.
Yep.
So, and then I'm like a dick or a kook. Whereas now I'm just like, we'll see how we're going to end up with a bikini top over here and pants down there and whatever.
But I came up laughing.
Yeah, and everyone around me laughing too.
And it's funny, but you do notice it. Like, if you pay attention in the surf and watch the let's say guys, because it's usually guys that are aggro in the surf, and we've all seen them. Like it's like the energy radiates off them, and they're aggro. They're aggro at everything that's going on, and you watch, and they work so hard to catch almost no waves. Yeah, and they can't see it. They've got they just can't see that. Yeah, they've come out with all this aggro energy, and they're spitting off at everyone else, and they're upset at everyone else, and everything's going on, and they're working so hard to have such a crap session.
Yeah, that was me.
Yep.
That used to be me, and it wasn't my aggro; it was me trying too hard. And Clayton's and my energy, because I was dragging other energy with me. And he's like, the waves can feel you; they're just going around you. He's like, have you ever noticed that some people just get all the waves, and sometimes you're like, no matter where you go over there because that's where the waves were. As soon as you're there, the waves aren't there anymore. It's your energy, and like if you be a bit woo woo, but if you do believe that everything is energy, that makes sense. You're radiating it away from you.
And even if you don't want to believe it's woo woo, all you're doing is you're not focusing right, and you're just not getting it right. So even if you don't want to admit that it's something bigger than you. If you just actually pay attention, the days where you're frustrated, the waves never come near you.
No. Or they come near you when a set's breaking on you.
Yeah, you end up stuck on the inside and getting buried to the ground. And and it doesn't matter how you want to believe why that happens. It just does. It just happens. And the guys and girls that are out there, they're smiling. Like, you can see it. They're smiling. They're happy. Yeah, they're enjoying their surf. They're the ones smashing waves out. They're not barking at anyone. They might be actually off over on their own. Whatever it is that they're doing, they're just having a great time. I don't know if you remember when you were in Newcastle with us. There was a guy out surfing with us, and I didn't notice till I was almost getting out of the water. He was having an awesome time, absolutely awesome time. And I did a really kooky thing, and I paddled across him as he was getting on a wave. I just totally misread what he was doing, got in his way, and I felt terrible. Like, I thought, oh, this guy's coming out. He's going to go nuts at me. He's come out, and I went, look, sorry, just totally missed you. Just totally misread what you're doing. And he's just brushed it off. He went, yeah, no, it's all cool. He said, just it's all cool. Don't stress about it. Don't worry. Oh, yeah, righto. And he caught so many waves that day. He was having a ball. And what amazed me was his surfing ability, and his legs were still on the rocks because he had 2 prosthetic legs. It was absolutely amazing. Just such an awesome dude. He just had an awesome day out surfing, even with me paddling across him as he was getting on a wave, and he just rolled with it. He just smiled the whole day. It was, it was just so cool. And every time he paddled out, a wave came to him. Just every time he got there, the wave was there waiting for him.
He's just there for it. We've Izaraya? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He just dropped into the chat saying facts, like, it's so true.
Thank you very much. It's so true. It is very, very true.
Don't you think the same thing happens with traffic lights?
Absolutely. The day that you're frustrated in a rush is the day you get every red light.
Oh, you welcome him in. You're just like, and then you say something like, every fucking light. And then the next one goes like, are you got to be kidding me?
I'm going to be late.
And then the next one. Yeah. Whereas if you're like, I got green lights all the way. Oh, speaking of that, have you read Matthew McConaughey's book?
Oh, I don't think I have read that one.
Oh, new book, Matthew McConaughey, Green Lights. I have it downloaded. I've only just started it. But I listened to his podcast with Tim Ferriss about it, and it's kind of just this vein, right? It's like, gotta go with the green lights.
You just like the voice, though, don't you?
I do. I love it when Matthew reads me a bedtime story. The Southern drawl. I love the Southern drawl of Matthew McConaughey reading me a bedtime story. Yeah.
So green lights.
How did you go to sleep? Green lights. Yeah. So I'd love to hear if anyone has read Green Lights and whether they recommend I down all books. and go to the green lights, or like whether I should just listen to the blinks, whether I just go to the podcast, or do we double down and read the fucking book?
Yep, that'd be awesome to hear. Or any recommendations.
Yeah, any. Actually, that'd be a great one. I'd love to hear any recommendations on books that are not for business and that are soul-filling, cup refilling, like juice for the soul. Someone recommended The Alchemist again the other day, although they did give it in the context of it was great, would give great business lessons. So I've talked about What I Know for Sure by Oprah. What else do you reckon would be a great refill your cup soul juice?
Not so much a book, but Red Bull has a documentary called The Other Side of Fear, which is Mark Matthews and his journey through big wave surfing and injury and everything else. And, that's really, really cool.
Mark
Matthews. Yep. The Other Side of Fear, it's called. Absolutely amazing. I won't give away too much of the story, but what he's been through in his surfing and, just absolutely doubled down on it and recovered from, and just amazing, absolutely amazing. And if you've got any interest in surfing, it is so cool. Yeah, so cool.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. I'll have to check that out. I recorded a podcast yesterday and with a SUP rider. I know some surfers were like, oh, blasphemy. But he said when he was researching SUPs, and one of the things that got him hooked on it was watching a documentary on YouTube called Glide, and it had Laird Hamilton in it. Did you know that Laird Hamilton goes back 30 years SUP riding and it's like his go-to?
Wow.
I was like, well, if it's cool enough for Laird. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
What else do you think we should leave the listeners with in terms of tools or resources to refill their cup over a weekend?
Well, I reckon for me this weekend, I'm going to surf. So I said that I'd missed for the last 2 weeks. So this weekend, I've got some time to myself away from pretty much everyone. I'm keeping an eye on weather and swells and everything else, so I may actually throw a swag.
You had the kids the second week of the holidays then.
Yep. So
I've got them first week.
So I'm keeping an eye on weather and swells. I may throw a swag in the car and disappear for a night. So I'm definitely going surfing, but I may actually go camping and just go and hide on a beach and surf and enjoy that. And that's pretty much my weekend, is a little bit of just quiet time, me time. Surf, so the ocean is where I recharge my energy. So, for me, I believe that I actually gain my energy from the surf and from the ocean and the power and everything that the ocean has to offer. So that's me, is to get in the water, get in and be a part of it and refill my cup. So, that's my weekend anyway. What about you? What are you going to do to refill your cup this weekend?
Well, like I said, we've got the kidlets for the first half. So definitely one thing I absolutely love is Phoenix's surfing is going up and up and up the last few months. So getting in the water with him, I think it's going to be nice and small, which means we might be able to get Frankie in. She only likes it, and she'll only go with me. She won't go with Steve. So I'd like to so we're going to spend the weekend here at this house rather than the other house. So enjoy the beach until it pisses down rain. And then I was talking to Ellie, my sister, about getting all the kids together, and we're going to go on a treasure hunt to pick nature things, so flowers and gum nuts and things like that, to make ice Easter eggs. So instead, because we don't do chocolate and sugar and all that stuff, and we want to do something crafty. So she's teaching us how you can take a little bit of the eggshell out, drop the egg out, fill it with water and cool nature things, and make Easter eggs, and then the kids smash the shit out of them.
Nice.
Instead of so then you can go hunting for them and smash the shit out of them. So I think that'll be a really good thing for me. That really does feel like being in nature with the kids and seeing them play, and that joy and that creativity is something that's like really cool. Like, and thinking about what that process will be. And then we'll probably go to bounce as well, because I missed that today. So.
Auntie Jade has to get her time at bounce too.
Yeah, I have to steal children to go to the bouncing. So I think that will be us. But from everything we've talked about, I think that I hadn't really curated what we were going to do, and that I was reading one of the comments come through, that I could just roll into, okay, just reaction, not planning and not curating, and making sure that there is some time that's me time, not just parent time.
Yep.
And how I'm going to plan that out. So I think that's about thinking about what their morning and evenings are going to be like before enough. The kids love a sleep in. So I've got hours in the morning. Rather than just getting up and cleaning, it's going to be like, okay, cool. Maybe we'll grab the best self cards and do some conversation journaling, go for a walk. And then at night, again, we usually pull out the cards again as our connection piece. And that's a really soulful thing to do. So I think it's, for me, the note from that for myself is be intentional. And definitely tomorrow morning, rather than just pumping the Tomorrowland vibes, I'm going to stick on either some wildlings, or I found on Mind Valley Quest there's actually another channel to do with little ones, little humans.
Little humans.
Yeah. So with some of the other conversations, so I think I'll drop back into that, which will help me be in a better space and be a little bit more patient when they want to kill each other.
Nice. Now I think there's one last thing that you just touched on that's probably really important in the downtime. Nature. Get outside.
Yeah, ground.
Yep. Get outside.
Yeah.
That's
get into your body.
Yeah, so I think that's one really, really, really big one is get outside. You know, make sure that you get some time outside in nature, enjoy it.
I'm just going to pop the comment up on screen of what I had someone put up before. Is that showing?
Nice.
Beautiful. I'm sorry, guys. I've been a bit crap. I had the screen set up, but I didn't have the chat flowing. So I only just realised that I didn't have, because Backstage is messaging me going, "Can you see the chat?" And I'm like, "Oh, whoops."
Yes.
So thanks everyone that did message. I will get better at this. Like I feel like each time we do this, Kyle, I'm getting.
We are definitely getting better at this. I'm definitely. The beer is definitely okay. I'm doing all right with that one.
Awesome. Well, I think on that note,
have an awesome weekend.
It's time to brain dump it out, set the intentions for the weekend, and get connected. I'd love to see in comments, like, what is the one thing you're going to do this weekend that's going to help you refill your cup, recharge the batteries, and refill your soul.
Absolutely. Ready for an awesome week next week.
Yeah. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you. Another awesome week. Enjoy, everyone.
Hey there, barrel chasing business owners. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the show. What I would love for you to do, if you feel like you got any value or entertainment out of this episode at all, is to leave us a 5-star review and comment below so that we can share the message and impact as many business owners like you as possible. Thanks.